So I don't know how much I could speak about this or even confirm any of this. Um, because the YouTube uh, oligarchs want to remind you that it's important to get vaccinated. It stops the transmission, slowly stops the transmission of COVID, and do your part and trust the science. But there is speculation, and I'm going to show it to you here because I want to show people the information that all the information that's out there so you can make a decision based on yourself. But there is speculation that the coronavirus, the entirety of the coronavirus, was actually predicted before we even knew about it. And this is kind of eerie, daunting. And like I said, I don't know how much I can confirm this. I don't know how much I can mention about this. But I want to bring attention to this because there is reports that are coming out about this. And also, surprisingly, in a TV show, they also predicted this. So this is something from New Scientist. This publication says the COVID-19 pandemic was predicted. Here's how to stop the next one. Now, again, I cannot confirm nor deny this. I'm just showing you that there is talks, there is speculation. Take it as you will, because YouTube's going to have a heyday if I, say something otherwise. But I'm just showing you all the information so that you have context, you have that information available, and you can decide for yourselves whether it's real or whether it's fake, which is kind of the whole point of why I'm against censorship, why I'm against, big tech organizations controlling the narrative, because it should be, and always should be, the decision based on the viewer. The viewer should be able to decide for themselves and self-determine what's real and what isn't. And for the fact that the oligarchy is going against that, not only just is tyrannical and extreme, but also just shows how they think how stupid we are, how naive we are. But anyway, it says, just the bottom line says, COVID-19 isn't the first pandemic humanity has faced, and it won't be the last. What has happened offers lessons about how we judge and respond to virus warnings in the future. That's kind of daunting. That's kind of eerie. That came out September 16th of 2020. So that's something to note, something to take note of, that this was actually kind of predicted way before we even knew about coronavirus, way before we even knew about this possible laboratory experiment that had gone berserk, which I don't know, I can't confirm or deny that. That's just what they're speculating, and take it as you will. But here's also this too. This is from Best Life, and they say 5 people who eerily predicted the coronavirus pandemic. These people put out ominous warnings of a disease that sounds like COVID-19. Now, again, I can't confirm, I can't deny it, I can't say much about this. I'm just showing you that there's people talking about this, there's information out there, and I'm just giving all this, to the people so that they can take it as their whim. And they can decide for themselves whether it's real or fake. I can't confirm, I can't deny it. Read for yourselves. But here's also this. And to quote the words of South Park, The Simpsons did it. And the show, has predicted miraculous things beforehand. They predicted the Trump presidency. They somehow predicted 9/11. They predicted a lot of interesting stuff. And it's still somewhat one of my favorite shows, but it has died down over the years, mostly because it's just been, watered down by. It's been going on for so long that they just continue to water it down, and it's just anyway. But this is very interesting. So in 2010, there's an episode that kind of suspiciously looks like something that would happen in 2020. And like I said, I can confirm or deny that this was a prediction. But take a look for yourselves and judge based on what you're seeing here. What do you think you can make out of this episode?
I'd like to call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong, in dark rooms glued to their televisions, too terrified to skip the commercials.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
That is so...
Now, I hate to be the guy who derails what everybody else loves.
He loves being that guy.
But, Janice, we do have standards. This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
We do have something we've been holding on to, but it hasn't been tested. Get over here, NBC.
Well, we certainly believe in testing, but Wow. Oh, yeah.
So, we've got our deadly disease. Now, we just have to blame it on something that's in every household, something that people are a little bit afraid of already. House cat flu is coming, people. The Center for Disease Disinformation predicts with some degree of probability that the house cat flu might spread in the following hypothetical outbreak pattern. So petter beware, that warm body on your lap just might be ready to destroy your tender victuals. Springfielders are advised to stay tuned for more information if they experience any of the following symptoms: mild thirst, occasional hunger, tiredness at night.
Now, here's what I want to know. This is the ultimate head-scratching question. Is how the people that produced, directed, wrote, starred, and broadcast this episode, how could they do this in 2010, this episode particularly, produce a show like this, and then 10 years later, that exact same scenario comes out in the open, and no one questions it? No one bothers to question it. Go look at their social media right now. Go look at the producers. Go look at the writers. Go look at anyone that was partaking in this episode. Go look at their social media. And you tell me how much they question the coronavirus narrative. None of them did. Including Dana Gould, who was one of the producers at the time. Dana Gould is one of the biggest propagandists for Big Pharma. And he was producing probably this episode. He knew about this. They wrote an episode about this. They aired episodes like this. And they still go with the big pharmaceutical propaganda. That, to me, is the biggest head-scratcher of all this. Something that is maniacal, and I do not understand. Help me understand that how people can write this episode and star and produce and direct this episode, which is miraculously hilarious. So on point that it's just unbelievably laughable. How they could do that at the same time not question it when it happens 10 years later. That is just insane. That is just insane. But then again, I asked the same question that how people that, were so angry about the OxyContin movement, they're so worried about the opioid crisis, and they should be, that people derailed against the big pharmaceutical industry. Remember that was that big movement about the opioid epidemic? They did, documentary after documentary after documentary. There's a show right now called Dope Sick that I've been starting to rewatch again. All about the crisis and all about the pharmaceutical industry and how evil and nefarious it is. What happened to those people? How did they just do a complete 180 to realize that, Pfizer, Moderna, they're not too bad. How can they do a complete 180 like that? How can people just go from questioning the most evil, nefarious people, they should be questioning nefariously, to just accepting it. I don't understand. I don't understand that. And that's the head scratcher of all this. That is the thing that I cannot believe is happening still to this day. Still to this day. After everything has been revealed, after they're trying to get amnesty because everything's out in the open now. Now they don't want to be held accountable for all the lies and nefarious shit they told us. They're trying to hide away by saying, oh, we need amnesty. We need to get away from it. We don't want accountability. After everything has been revealed, how can they still accept the propaganda? And not only accept the propaganda, but then also demonize people that knew better. How can they demonize their best friends, their co-workers, people that they're related to, people that they know out in the... How can they do that? How can they do that? After everything that's been revealed, after all the nefarious shit, the purposely nefarious shit that they've... that's now finally been revealed, that the reason they propagandize people is to try to separate us, try to divide us, that try to make people... segregate between the vax and unvaccinated, even though there's no real difference to it. Unless YouTube tells otherwise. But it just shows how nefariously insane this all is. And just how people can blindly flow where the political sales takes them. Is it because, Democrats are okay with Big Pharma, that's fine too? We got to accept it. We got to accept the science. You don't accept the science. You don't trust the science like it's God. You question science. Questioning brings us science. We wouldn't have gravity or the theory of relativity or electricity or any invention without questioning. That is part of the scientific method. That is part of scientific principle. You always start with a question. That's how you get science. But now we can't even do that. We can't even have science right now. The people that are denying the most out of science are the people that are saying that there's people denying science. Because they don't understand. They don't understand what's out in the open, and they refuse to understand. And I don't know if it's because they're so full up their asses in political bullshit that they just decide to accept the evil, nefarious norms that they know personally is insane. They know how crazy this is. They just spoof about this on The Simpsons, for God's sakes, 10 years beforehand. Now they've done a complete 180 and just are trying to get away with it. It is just crazy, folks. It is crazy. And it's also crazy how well they put this together. But there you go. Turns out the longest animated show on Fox is able to predict the truth. And I just, it fathoms me that the people that were responsible for this episode are still the same people that will scream and demonize and attack people like me, who remind people about this, who remind people that big pharmaceutical industries, along with corporations and nefarious billionaires and the media and the establishment as a whole, would do something like this. They do this on the regular. And like they said in those publications, it's not the first time we've had a pandemic. It's not the first time we've been fear-mongered, and it won't be the last time. Remember when H1N1 came out? And there was that big fear-monger situation. Oh my God, how scary that is. I'm old enough to remember when 2003, there was a SARS outbreak in Toronto. And there was a big campaign about it. There was a whole big story. It was the first time that, it made national attention in Canada, and even parts of the United States covered it. And it was this big outbreak, and people didn't know what to do. But somehow they managed to isolate this growing virus in Toronto. And just a few months later, they did a benefit concert in Toronto during a deadly outbreak. So that's why it's important to question things. That's why it's important to have skepticism, have critiques. Because in order to have science, in order to have evolution, in order to evolve from thought and theory, you have to have questions. You have to have critiques. That's how you grow. That's how you understand. That's how you become more knowledgeable. Doing your own research is not deadly. It's not terrible. It doesn't make you a right-winger. It makes you a knowledgeable person, which is why I tell people on the regular to do it. Go out and research. Go out and read for yourselves. I'm telling people right now, I cannot accept or deny this because of YouTube, but go look for yourselves. Go look for yourselves, and you will find the answer. I encourage more people to do their own research because, as you can see here, mainstream media is not going to tell you. Mainstream media is there to manipulate you. Mainstream media, as told by the people responsible for Mockingbird, is purposely lying to you to sway public opinion. That is what they do. They're selling you a story. They're selling you an agenda. They're not telling you information. They're not reporting accurately. They're not doing journalism. They're selling you content. They're selling you ideas. They're selling you the propaganda machine. That is what they do on the regular, and that is why I tell people that you unfortunately have to become the watchdog. You have to be skeptical. You're the ones that have to do the research. If you want valid information, it comes down to your hands. Because you're not going to get from Anderson Cooper. You're not going to get from Rachel Maddow. You're not going to get from CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, wherever. You're not going to get from there. Even the, so-called independent networks. You're not going to get from Democracy Now! You're not going to get from Majority Report or TYT for that matter. It all comes down to us. It all comes down to the individual trying to figure out exactly what's going on in this world. And the Simpsons miraculously, comedically reminded us why it's important to question, why it's important that it seems all skeptical 10 years before the scenario actually happened. And nobody questions it. It's just something I cannot believe.